Stocks are almost at the all-time highs. We got a lot to talk about today, a lot of news to cover, and some supports and resistance, and to plays to make the most money trading. And you may be wondering, is this rally going to continue or are we going to stop? Let's get started. Start off, man, let's talk about the hype stock. Nvidia has been pumping for the past couple of days, and we're still kind of decently green with it. With that being said, we do have a little bit of a slowdown. So tomorrow can really make or break. Because honestly, if we break below that 155 level and continue down lower, this can be the end of Nvidia's rally. But with that being said, if we could break above that 157 to that 158 level, go into that 160, we can see Nvidia continue going. But we did have a little bit of a slowdown today, so keep that in mind, especially if you have some calls. I do recommend for you that are in the profit, to just take your profit, maybe get some plays with the profit, but don't risk too much at these levels because we can either break up and or break down and fill some gaps downward. So please be careful with the video overall. Another stock to watch today is AMD because AMD had a bigger sell-off than Nvidia overall, filled some gaps downwards, and this is kind of why I lost a little bit of confidence with Nvidia. But I mean, Nvidia is of course way bigger than AMD. And honestly, man, AMD, if we can have another breakup above, because we're back up at kind of like the highs. Because with AMD, we did break up a decent amount. So watch that 144.5, 145.5. And next, man, look at that 150 for AMD. So please have your patience with chip stocks overall. But we do look a little bit more bullish, but just a little bit of a slowdown today and a little bit of a take profit. That being said, for the SPY, man, we're almost at all-time highs with this as well. Look at that 613.5, 615, and that 620 to the upside. Big levels, but we have big pushers. But honestly, man, right now we are looking like we have more smart money coming in, hedge funds, and more rushing into the market right now. A lot of people getting FOMO and don't want to miss out. So unlike last time, we are kind of in the FOMO phase and people are going to keep pumping the markets. And honestly, man, we've just been getting back to back to back good news, ceasefire, some trade deals that we're going to be talking about a little bit later, and just a lot of good news overall. With that being said, though, one bad headline can make everybody fall back into fear and honestly have a little bit of a downward trend, maybe a take profit, a little bit of a pullback. But honestly, markets have been naturally going back up, especially when bad news comes out. We normally just have a little bit of a pullback and then it comes back. But honestly, anything can happen nowadays. We get a bad trade deal, another war. Just honestly, right now, the unexpected can happen at any time. So we do have a rare earth deal signed with China, and it was signed on Wednesday. And we also have a trade deal that got signed as well on Wednesday. So let's see how markets react to this. Another thing to see how markets react to is Friday. We have the PCE index an hour before market opens, and this is the Fed inflation gauge. So this can really make or break how the market is looking. But keep the PCE on your radar an hour before market opens. So honestly, overall for tomorrow, just look at the PCE index and also the consumer sentiment. So the PCE is coming out an hour before market opens, so we can see some pre-market moves, and then the consumer sentiment comes out 30 minutes after market opens. So keep that in mind overall. But we do have Trump getting closer to have a replacement for Jerome, but Trump is preparing to name the successor for Fed Chair Jerome as he grows impatient with the Fed's cautious approach to interest rate cuts, really losing us $400 to $900 billion a year with the interest rates. The move will mark an unusually early announcement nearly a year before Jerome's term ends in May 2026. This reflects Trump's desire for more dovish, growth-focused Fed leader who aligns with his economic agenda. For anyone that's trying to take their trading to the next level, made a website with a bunch of courses that you guys can check out. First link in the description below. Check it out if you guys want to up your knowledge on the stock market. Relatively cheap courses, and we have sales going on. So check them out while the sales is still happening. Next one, we got some decent news with Palantir. So Palantir Technologies is partnering with a nuclear construction firm named the Nuclear Company. They're going to develop AI-driven platform dubbed the Nuclear Operations System, NOS, for designing and building nuclear reactors. The goal is to streamline reactor construction by improving timeline management, cost efficiency, supply chain monitoring, regulatory compliance, and create real-time digital twins to keep projects on track. Under the agreement, the nuclear firm will pay around $100 million over 5 years to Palantir, helping to meet growing demand for clean, reliable nuclear power amid U.S. policy incentives. But this is another deal that Palantir got, and Palantir is just a great company. I do recommend having your eyes on it, especially for your long term. You can make a decent amount of money. And why it really matters. So it signals Palantir's expansion into energy beyond its core government and commercial AI offerings with policies like Trump's executive order speeding up nuclear license. Demand is heating up, aligning this initiative with national energy and tech priorities. Investors may see this as a strong growth signal as Palantir diversifies its AI uses into critical, heavy industry segments. So we have a record with Coinbase. They hit their first record since 2021 on stablecoin. Coinbase and CRCL benefited off this. CRCL went insane as well, but Coinbase also did pretty decent as well. But with that being said, man, we already gave you guys supports and resistance for NVIDIA and the SPY. Let's get to some other stocks. So first off is going to be Apple. Apple has still been moving in this same range of 200 to 203.5. So just wait for it to make a break downwards and a break upwards. But if it does break downwards, maybe to that 198.5, 197 to that 195 level, you can buy call options because normally it bounces back. You know, we've seen it multiple times hit below these levels and honestly break above it like relatively fast. So just have your patience with Apple or just wait for good or bad news to come out and just follow the play like that. Make a day trade, swing trade with that. And honestly, man, I think I'm going to load up my long term at around that 190 level. But we do also have it in our long term as well. One of my biggest holdings is indeed Apple, but I might change it, maybe make it NVIDIA if we do get a pullback with NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA is decently priced now at 155. Gonna have my patience with that one. But next one to look at is going to be Palantir. I do recommend having this one on your radar, especially with the deals and everything like that. We did hit some highs of that 148 to 148.5, but I do want to have some patience before I, invest into it or make a trade. Do see how it reacts to that 145 level. If you can break above that, look at 146.5, 148, and of course 148.5. If we can bounce above that, look at that 150. To the downside though, if we do start selling, of course that 142 level is going to be key, but look at 143.5 and then that 142. If we break below that, look at 140.5, 140 and 138.5 to the downside for Palantir. Next going to be Tesla. We did have, it moving up and down today, not really moving too strong, but to the downside, look at 325, 320, 315 and that 310 to that 300 level. To the upside, man, look at the big gap to fill back upwards, that 330, 335, 340, and that 350 level. Next, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, man. Bitcoin is moving pretty strong, but now we're kind of up and down a little bit. But with that being said, do look at that 108.5, 110, and past that 110, man, this is the do or die zone, honestly, man. We can either break above it, keep on going up, and or break below it, go all the way back down to 106 to 104, but you can make a lot of money off Bitcoin moves. And if you can learn Bitcoin moves, I do recommend trading the ticker symbol IBIT, IBIT. It's an ETF that moves with Bitcoin, relatively cheap options. Every time I announce this, I always mention the options as well. I feel like I'm doing an ad, but literally $80 for in the money, and you can make a decent amount of money off of that, even next week plays. So if you guys want to get into, the Bitcoin trend, IBIT is pretty decent, but some other stocks to watch with Bitcoin overall would be indeed MSTR. MSTR moves exactly with Bitcoin as well, and Coinbase. And we recently just had that rally, and Coinbase is getting a lot of hype right now. You can make a decent amount of money with Coinbase in general. But I would be a little careful because the options are relatively overpriced. I'll be a little bit careful because you are risking a little bit more money on the options, but it's not as bad. It's not too bad. I do recommend getting into these stocks if you guys do want to get into the Bitcoin trend, but only if you guys want to get into the Bitcoin trend. But with that being said, man, we're getting some decent news overall. Stocks hitting all-time highs. Just have your patience with this market. Comment down below some tickers that you guys are currently watching and trading and how much money you guys made this week. Hopefully you guys benefited off some call options because I know I did. With that being said, though, smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, check out our option course and our website. Peace out. I'm also coming out with daily blogs to update you guys with the stock market before I even make these videos. So if you guys want early news, early stock plays, and things to watch, check out the site as well. This is completely free. Just go into the website, go into Creator's blog. You guys can check it out if you guys want.